Hello, hello. That one and that one. Is this good here? Oh, look at that. Then we've got this happening. That one and that one. Perfect. All right. Let me just see. Can I share this? Hey, Doreen, welcome. Thank you for the mug. Love it. I actually couldn't wait to use it this morning. But I'm out of milk, so I went to go make my little latte, and that's why I'm 2 minutes late, as I was running around trying to find anything that I could use. Didn't have too much success, but that's okay. So, it's real strong, that's all. All right, wow, welcome to our little yin-yang, our gentle, extra gentle class. And that's happening today, on Monday. Thanks for finding me on my yoga page. Can only stay on for about half an hour. Have to get to the office this week. Look at you. I hope you're not nervous. I hope it's a wonderful experience to be back in and around a few people. I hope it goes really well. So, okay, well then let's dive in and get going. I was trying to see if I could share this live stream to my regular page so that if anyone didn't see my post that it's now happening on my yoga page. But I have no idea how to do that. So, okay, that's okay. Just sharing with y'all what I'm trying to do and why I'm not looking at the camera at all. So, let's make things happen this morning, hey? Stretching it out. Feeling good. What else is happening? All good, just this week. Oh, you're rotating. That's a smart idea. I think that's cool. I also was in the office. The yoga studio opened up this weekend, so I had a couple classes on Saturday and on Sunday, and it went really well. People were really respectful of, because we have a lobby and it's kind of smallish, and so we just, people just distanced appropriately. It was really good. It worked out really well. Had a wonderful class. A couple of classes. It was delightful. So, did you tag Eliza? That would be handy. Yeah, and I have my phone. I have it going on my phone here as well because I was trying to see if I could share it, but I don't see edit, save, delete. I don't want to delete it. Anyways, c'est la vie. It is what it is. I'll share it afterwards if anyone missed it out. Let's dive in. Let's get going. Let's get some yoga happening. I need to see a clock, otherwise we'll just do yoga for forever. So, journeying on down to your mat. Finding that position where you can start to sense into the body, even just sitting down. Maybe you're laying down. Maybe you're sitting on a little stool. It really doesn't matter to me. Something that is comfortable. You don't want to sit there in pain, but also allows you to notice how you're feeling. So take a little moment, start that body scan, maybe start from head to toe, and check in with the neck and the shoulders, maybe how do the ribs feel, working all the way down. I've got really tight hips and quads today. And quads are super sore, so I was thinking a little low lunge with a quad stretch might happen today. If you have any requests, drop them in and I'll try to get them in the class, especially before you gotta leave. If you're only doing a partial class. It's the joy of the live, is that we kind of create our own little community together here. So as you're settling into that position and doing that little scan, maybe you take a little moment and adjust. Maybe you roll those shoulders back and down. Maybe take that inhale breath and start to extend the spine, trying to find a little bit of length there, helping grow a little bit taller. Maybe try palms facing up. Just finding little ways to have openness, finding a little bit of comfort, letting it be really good. And wherever you're at, let's start to focus in on the breath, building that connection. Starting to breathe in nice and deep. Using that exhale, maybe even let it go really audibly. breathing in, not just filling the lungs and not just the top part of the lungs. See if you can start to get that rib cage expanding in and out, and starting to breathe into that diaphragm area. Breathing in with the belly button, expanding it nice and big, and using that exhale, feeling everything pull back together. I think the amount that the body moves just simply from a full deep inhale is really quite fascinating and really quite neat. You can even notice you get a little taller. So it kind of affects like everything from like the waist up, and is really kind of cool that way. So if you really kind of take a moment and take a couple of breaths and notice that whole journey, like the nose, maybe the nostrils flare, you can maybe feel it right into your sinuses, your throat. It's just so cool. All of that to give us breath, and you just naturally do this all throughout our day, nonstop. Away we go. And then if we take that bigger breath, we have so much in the body that needs to happen, and it just, I don't know, it feeds us, and it's really quite fascinating. So taking just a few more of those beautiful breaths, feeling that sense of peace, sense of calm, feeling that nice little connection in. And if you like to set an intention for your class, for our time together, go ahead and do so now. What brings you to your mat today? What is helping you get through? What's your inspiration? Whatever it is, let it be really good, or let it be true to you. And let's seal it in with one more deep breath together. So breathing it in, nice inhale. Exhale, maybe even sigh it out. So good, so nice. And if you are laying down, let's roll things up into a nice seated position. Take a breath or two, there's no rush to make your way into seated. Really, it's your class. I'm just the tour guide. You can take exactly what you need, picking and choosing along the way. So as you're in that seated position, let's find that length, rolling those shoulders back and down, gentle little tuck of the chin, and expanding the head nice and tall and long. Take that big inhale breath. Take that exhale, pull those low ribs in, maybe a little engagement through the core, pulling the belly button in. Let's take that inhale breath and let's engage the arms, starting to sweep the arms up nice and big, reaching up nice and tall. Take that exhale, pull the hands down towards heart center. We'll take a few of these, so let those inhales reach up nice and big, and those exhales, pull the hands to heart. If you want a little more, you can start to lift through the heart, maybe the head tips back ever so slightly, the hands bow down. A little rounding through the spine, lifting through the heart, feeling that back bend. Nice little bow. Take one or two more of these, just reaching it up and pulling it down. On the next one, we'll just reach up and hold, interlacing the fingers, maybe coming to steeple, or if you'd prefer to have palms facing outward, just feeling with what feels best for your shoulders. And keep trying to reach up a little higher and see if you can really bring those arms nice and close to the ears. As you keep reaching, feeling all of that length. And let's just tip it over towards the left. Notice, did your elbows start to bend and fall in as you started to tip over? It's a good sign you have lots of tension through that side body. Take a little moment, see if you can find that beautiful length. Then come all the way back up. Keep holding the arms overhead, waking up those shoulders, reaching over towards the other side. It's working with that side body, finding that openness. Keep rolling that top shoulder open. Beautiful. Let it feel really nice. And reach it back up. Keep holding those arms. Find one more nice stretch. And exhale nice and slowly. Let's bring the hands down to heart center. So good. Excellent. Let's switch the feet, opposite foot in front or on top. Just working through. Still sitting nice and tall. Take that little moment, hit that reset, pull those low ribs in on that exhale, And let's sweep the arms up, reach it up, just reaching it up nice and tall. And let's bring the arms down to that nice T position. Have thumbs pointing up. Maybe take a little moment. Give yourself 2 thumbs up. Reach those fingers out and see if you can find a little more length through to the fingertips. And let's open up, lifting through the heart. Maybe the gaze goes upward, trying to reach your hands farther back. And take that exhale and give yourself that nice big hug. Feel that little rounding through the shoulders and try to activate into a little bit of a shoulder stretch. Actively maybe adding a little resistance in through the arms. And let's open it up nice and big. Really reaching, maybe the gaze goes up, lift through that heart, squeezing those shoulder blades, opening up the hands as much as possible. Exhale, give yourself a little hug, but have the arms come the opposite way. So opposite elbow on top. Give yourself that nice big hug and squeeze, maybe even lift through the elbows. Add that little resistance, pressing one arm into the other. And reach it out. Nice and big. And let's start to rotate towards the left. So finding that openness, still try to keep those arms stretching open as you spin around. And let's drop the hands down. Take an inhale breath, get nice and tall. Exhale, maybe you twist a little deeper. I'm finding that beautiful rotation. Maybe you even just start to rotate the head or the neck, looking over that back shoulder. You can adjust the hands. I always like to grab onto the knee. I don't know why. This feels a little more stable than holding on the ankle or the opposite leg. Inhale and lengthen. All about finding length through that spine today. And exhale. Let's start to journey back towards that nice center line. Reach those arms out to that nice T position. Give yourself that thumbs up. Say you're amazing, you're doing great. Reach those fingertips, squeeze gently through those shoulder blades. And let's rotate towards the right. Squeezing it through, still trying to keep the arms really open. At some point, you'll find that maybe it's your hand wants to stay in that field of vision, especially as you start twisting through. Let's drop those hands down. Inhale, lengthen, pressing in to get nice and tall. And then using the hands to press, to twist maybe a little bit deeper. Using the hands as a nice little anchor point, little grounding. Feeling that wonderful rotation. One more inhale, lengthen. And use a nice slow exhale. Let's come on back and towards center. So good. Let's roll into our all fours position. So coming around, stacking hands, elbows and shoulders, nice knees and hips. Let's keep working with the spine just real quick, just a few little cat-cows. So those inhales to look up, belly drops down, really feel that arch through the spine. And take that nice exhale, push the spine upward. Beautiful little angry cat, moving through at your own pace, your own breath. Take those inhales to look up. Exhales to round. I like to push extra into my hands when I feel like I'm at my max. I can actually find a little bit more length, a little bit more depth as I activate into those shoulders, pressing them up a little bit higher. And then make your way into a nice flat back, coming into that tabletop position. And simply just pushing one hip out and the other. So coming into that gentle little sway. This is going to start to warm up the sides of the hips. Getting a little bit into those IT bands, a little bit into those hip flexors. You can even gaze back, taking a little peek at the toes as you switch from one side to the next. So good. Excellent. Pushed it pretty hard this weekend, so I'm super stiff. Last night, I was sitting on the couch just relaxing, and I was tired. I was like, husband, I need a tow truck to help me up. So he comes over and he picks me up. It was really cute. So good. All right, let's find our stillness. And let's just bring our left foot forward. So maybe you come up onto your knee first and bring the foot forward. Just coming into just a really gentle low lunge position. Bring the hands onto the hips, roll left hip back. Start to push a right hip forward. If you need a little padding under that right knee, take a little moment, throw a pillow under there or fold your mat up. And then when you're feeling ready, you can start to push those hips forward, changing your alignment to stacked over the knee, to finding a little more depth in the pose, in the position. If this is really intense and on that right side, you can always bow it down, planting the forearms. And sometimes that just feels a little nicer to start off with, and then you can work on bringing the hands or the shoulders over the hips. You can add a nice little pulse, adding a little movement here. Just be mindful of that kneecap. I find the little pulses are really good, especially at the beginning of a stretch, just to find a little bit more of that openness. You can start really soft and then get a little bit deeper. And keeping that movement going just naturally kind of lubricates in through the muscles. I don't quite remember all the scientific words that used it, but that was the gist of the article that I was getting. Beautiful. Let's find that stillness. So good. Maybe you start to bring those hands up or those shoulders up. Back over the hips. And then I feel like adding a little twist in here would be really nice. So I have my left foot forward, and I'm going to bring my opposite hands on my right hand onto the knee. And I'm just going to send my left hand straight forward at first, and then I'm going to spin it open, reaching back behind me. Nice little rotation, trying to have the rotation stop at the hips or at the tailbone. So don't let it journey into the knees. Gaze can go back behind you if you want that little extra. Feeling just some wonderful rotation. And let's come on back, bringing those shoulders squared back towards the front. Maybe take that little moment, getting a little deeper. Beautiful. So 2 options for you now, or you can do both really if you want. If you want to keep adding that depth and finding some openness through the hips, then you can start to bring those hands down towards the inside of the leg. So maybe you bring that left foot out a little bit, making some room for those shoulders. Feel free to use a block here. It's a great way to, if you can't quite reach down to the ground, the block just simply brings the ground a little bit closer towards you, so you're not straining or pulling through anything. Excellent. And then that other option, I talked about having tight quads, and so this is a great opportunity to add that little bit of a quad stretch in. Mine are super tight, so we'll see how we go. We can just start to bend through that back knee. That might be a little tight or sore on that knee, so just be mindful. Use that pillow, like the pillow or like a towel, fold it a couple times, makes a huge difference for that. So just being mindful. So if you're just bending the knee and hang out there, I always seem to get a little spasm in my hamstring whenever I do this, but it just kind of is what it is. You can just release it and work with it, or you can reach back with a hand. I naturally go with my left hand, but really you could do this either way. I'm trying to reach for the foot. I absolutely cannot today. That's okay. This would be a great opportunity for a strap, but it's hanging on the banister right there and I can't quite grab it. Need to remember to bring it closer and try to pick everything up off the floor after my class, and always forget to grab the strap. Beautiful. So notice if you're in this pose, did your shoulders start to shrug up next to your ears? Are you hunching into this? And can you still keep lengthening through the spine? Finding that depth. I'm going to lower my right foot back down, just helping release that quad. Starting to journey out of this nice and slow. I'm going to take one more nice big inhale here. Finding that length, that exhale, finding a little bit of softness, and trying to release that tension. Beautiful. And I'm going to start to bring my hands up a little bit higher, just resting them on the knee at first. Walking that left foot back into more of that neutral position. And then let's start to straighten through that left leg. And coming into just a nice bit of a hamstring stretch. Coming into that runner stretch. So maybe you hang out nice and high And trying to get the toes up off the ground, flexing the toes inward is where you'll start to really add some stretch to that back line of the body. And pushing the hips back, keeping the foot planted, and even adding that little bow forward are great ways to add more intensity into this. And so you do have the option to sit back on that right foot. It doesn't really change anything on the left side of the body. Just comes into that little bit of a half hero pose. You can work through the quad a little bit that way as well, or even flex through the foot and strengthen through there. I'm just enjoying hanging it up high, adding that little bow in. Beautiful. Keep bringing those toes inwards, maybe even reach for the toes, reaching for the foot, adding that extra bit of stretch. Beautiful. And if you are sitting down on your foot, let's start to come on back up, getting into this nice stretchy position. Let's take one more nice big inhale, lengthening through the spine. Exhale, seeing if you can just relax the muscles a little bit in the hip, and then add a nice bend to that knee. And coming just quickly back into that low lunge position, and getting that nice stretch. And then let's bring left foot in, switching to the other side. Beautiful. Finding that extension through the right side. If you keep your foot close to your knee, it'll keep it really quite easy. If you want more challenge, more distance between the foot and the knee, starting to pulse it out, moving the hips forward. Keep rolling that right hip back, left hip forward. You can do so with your hands on the hips if you need that helpful little awareness. If you can't quite feel into it. And then when you're ready, you can add that little stillness. I'm going to just rest my forearms down on the knee. You're welcome to stay up nice and high. That's helping you feel the stretch a little better. And keep pushing left hip forward. Keep pulling that right hip back. Holding here for just a few more rounds of breath, playing around with a little bit of stillness. Excellent. Now I'm going to start to bring my hands onto my knee, bringing those shoulders up. Notice, are you just arching through the back? Are those ribs still pushing forward? And can you start to pull that belly button in? And keeping that little connection, pulling it back. And now I'm going to bring my left hand onto my knee and reach my right hand forward and start to open it all the way up. I have my palm facing forward, but your choice, whatever feels best. Maybe you want thumb down or thumb up. Just enjoying a nice little bit of twist, making sure the twist stops at the hips. So just notice that back knee, and then are you really starting to twist on it? And try to keep that leg still pointing forward. I know it's kind of a weird cue, but c'est la vie. One more nice big inhale, nice full exhale, and let's start to bring it back towards center, bring those shoulders squared back forward. Now if you want, you can walk or heel toe that right foot out a little bit and start to bring the hands down on towards the ground or onto a block, book, soup pot. It's a great suggestion if you don't got props at home. Your option to keep that knee tucked inwards or to let the knee find some openness coming onto the side edge of the foot. Totally your option. I used to really struggle with keeping my knee in. So that's what I'm working on, is still building a little bit of that strength through a specific line of the hip flexor. And then that option as well, to start to bring a bend into that back knee. Feeling that through the quad. Maybe you reach on back, grabbing onto the foot, and pulling it in towards the sits bones. or just hanging out with a little bend to the knee. Feeling that nice connection. There you go, Doreen. I was trying to get both sides in before 8:30 and I feel like I'm pretty close. Connecting in here. We'll take just a few more rounds of breath. And lower that leg back down. Taking one more nice big inhale. And on that exhale, starting to soften and release. Just kind of finding that sweet spot. Beautiful. Starting to come up, pressing into those fingertips, walking that foot a little bit more towards center, and starting to straighten through that right leg. Option to come up nice and high. Flexing those toes in, trying to find that little balance on the heel. And maybe sitting down onto that left foot. Excellent. If you want to add some more intensity, you can start to add that nice little bow forward, or even just pulling the sits bones backwards. You probably automatically start to bow down a little bit. And then just coming into your preferred depth. Feeling that nice stretch, that little ooh-ah sensation, where it probably feels real good. Feeling everything be nice and active. Taking just a few more little breaths here, big breaths here. On that inhale, see if you can lengthen. Make sure you're pulling the shoulders away from the ears. Exhale, maybe you deepen, maybe you soften. Maybe you just flex that foot a little bit more. And then start to slowly bring a bend to that knee. And coming back to that nice low lunge, just kind of squaring off the hips. Getting that stretch on both sides again. Beautiful. And then starting to bring that right knee back in. Finding that nice little tabletop. You can bring the knees nice and wide as we sit back and take a little child's pose or a little puppy pose. However far back the hips go. Sounds great. Just walking those hands forward. Taking that nice big stretch. Hands can be active and off the ground, or you can just let the hands melt in towards the mat, whatever feels best for you. I love a little child's pose. It's a great way to release through the spine, through the back, and with the knees nice and open like this, it's a great way to find some openness through the hips. Maybe you find that little release through the low back. Let's start to get into the side body a little bit more as well. So we can walk our hands really to either side. We'll do both. I'm going to start out going towards the left first. Feeling that openness through the right side as you still melt down into it. Taking another breath or two here with this nice little side stretch happening. And then nice and slowly, maybe walking hand over hand. Coming back through center and over towards the right. Feeling that openness through that left side. Probably through the arm, the shoulder, maybe into the ribs a little bit. And seeing if you can find that softness through every breath. Taking just a few more little breaths, nice little inhales and exhales. And then starting to come back towards center. Connecting in with that breath. And just taking a few moments. Starting to press the hands up, coming up, and I don't know, feel like coming into a standing forward fold. So I'm just gonna tuck my toes under, pressing the hips up, and just right away stepping towards the top of my mat. That was not graceful at all, but we made it there. Just hanging out, letting the head tangle. I'm going to bend through one knee and the other, just kind of finding a little bit of that movement. Letting the head hang heavy, make sure there's no tension in that neck. Really just be looking down or even looking at your knees. You can start to add a little sway, just keep a bend to the knees as you do so. Beautiful. Let's inhale. Let's come up halfway. Just pressing the hands either above or below the knees, rolling those shoulders back and down. And keep that nice little tuck of the chin, lengthening so super long. I'm going to bend through my left knee, making a little shelf for my left elbow. And then if you want a little more, you can reach that right hand up. So I'm feeling lots of stretch through my right side. Getting a little bit into that IT band, the side of the hip, pulling all the way down, and maybe a little bit into the glute and the hamstring. And continuing to find that length. Enjoying that nice gaze going upward. You can bring the left hand downward. If you don't like that hand being up, but you like that openness through the shoulder, you can even bring that right hand onto the small of the back, palm facing outward. And continuing to try to straighten through my right leg to feel that wonderful stretch. Not hyperextending through the leg or the knee though. Just trying to lift through that kneecap and feel that wonderful stretch through the right side. One more nice big inhale. And an exhale. Let's bring that hand back down. Just falling right into that nice forward fold. Letting the body hang heavy. Noticing the difference between left and right side. Immediately coming out of that stretch. So let's inhale, halfway lift. Find all of that length through the spine that you can. Maybe gently pressing into the legs. Lengthening, lengthening. Bring a bend to that right leg now, making that little shelf for the elbow. And straightening through the left leg, and the left hand starts to reach up towards the ceiling. Reaching up for the sky, finding that openness. Feeling that nice stretch through the left hip. Letting it feel really good. Wonderful little connection. Now that option, you can always tuck the hand I'm just leaving it on the small of the back. Have the palm facing out though. Nice big inhale. Take that moment to lengthen. And exhale. Take that moment to soften. One more nice big breath. Take that inhale and exhale. Start to release that left hand. And coming right back into that nice little forward fold. Beautiful inhales and exhales as we just start to hang out here. I'm going to heel toe my feet, coming a little bit wider. And just shifting the forward fold. Playing with a little bit of depth. Just kind of swaying a little bit from side to side, bending a little bit into one knee, getting more into the inner thighs. Enjoying a little bit of stillness. This nice little stretch on the hamstrings feels so good. And then from here, I'm going to start to come into my little yogi squat. So we're going to bend the knees and sink the hips. And I actually just spin my feet outwards. That helps make it a little bit easier. So bending the knees, sinking the hips, coming all the way down into that little squat position. You can press your hands in towards the floor, get that little block. You can even sit on a block if this is really intensive on the hips. And taking that little moment, rolling those shoulders back and down, find that length. You won't be here too long, just a nice intensive stretch for the hips, finding that edge, maybe dealing with that zone that's a little uncomfortable. My hips are insanely tight this morning, so I'm feeling this really intensely, whereas usually I can hang out for quite a while. So let me just actually sit on the block. I will take my own advice, take some of the weight out of my hips. Oh, so good. Beautiful. I'm pressing my elbows just gently to the inside of my knees. Just helping stabilize, feeling that connection all throughout the body. Beautiful. I'm going to start to press my hands down so I can stabilize, pressing into my feet, sending the hips up, moving my props off to the side. Excellent. Let's inhale, just a little halfway lift. And finding that length. Exhale, bend the knees, plant the hands, and take that nice big step back. Drop the knees down, and let's spin onto our backs. Coming into a nice reclined position. Rolling those shoulders back and down. Nice little tuck of the chin. Excellent. Finding that length through the body. Take that inhale breath. Get nice and tall. And take that exhale. Pull the belly button in towards the spine or that little tip of the tailbone. Just press gently into the feet, just ever so slightly, lifting the hips up off the ground. Just feeling that little openness through the front body. Maybe even stacking fists, bringing them right underneath that sacrum or those sits bones area. Just coming into a little bit of a supported bridge. This is a great opportunity for your block as well. If you want to just tuck your block under, finding that nice little sweet spot. This really finds some openness through the low back, as either with your fists or the block. Odds are it's just kind of hitting that right spot to tip the spine. So you're coming into that nice back bend. You can really press the shoulders in. If you want a little extra pressure and openness through the front body as you press the shoulders in, the collarbone or the heart lifts and opens. Notice the knees, are they starting to fall open? Can you maybe just keep them in line? Feels good to have them fall open. That's a great option too. Just got to be mindful of the position of the feet. Maybe you need to walk the feet out a little bit. or point the toes out. Take a moment to simply breathe and soften. It's a big part of these yin yang as we start to get more into that yin style, kind of done with more of that movement. When we start to hold the poses a little bit longer. I try to hold all of them decently and make this whole class a little bit more restorative in nature. But this is definitely more of the restorative side than the yin side. Yin, I find, is still can be a very challenging class. It's actually not always great for those beginners because it's dealing with that edge, that area of discomfort. It works the brain a whole bunch. You really have to set your ego aside, that whole this should look a certain way. Then listen to your body, feeling those little sensations and those little cues that your body's giving. Whereas we get into some of these more supported poses, it's all about just finding that relaxation, that little bit of rest. Gives your body some time to restore and heal, which is really cool that we can invite that into our yoga practice. And I'm going to start to come out of this now. So that inhale, I'm going to just find that length. On that exhale, I'm going to start to activate into the feet and the legs, lifting the hips up off that block or off your fists. And nice and slowly rolling down. Don't just let the body fall onto the mat. See if you can really control coming down one vertebrae at a time. You might even hear little adjustments through the spine, little crackles in through the body. Coming to that nice and neutral. If you want, you can extend the legs or you can keep them bent. Really your choice. And extending the legs will just help find that openness a little bit through the hip flexors, which we were working on in that bridge posture. So just kind of honors that shape we were creating. Rolled my shoulders back and down, a little tuck in the chin. Yes, this is a little mini Shavasana. It's known as a little rebound that happens. Just giving your body a moment to reset after that longer hold in that pose. Returning that blood flow and energy just to neutral. So if you do feel little tingles and sensation, that is normal. That is a big part of our yin experience. Beautiful. Connecting in with the breath. Taking one more nice round of breath. And then I'm just going to start to bring my feet or my legs up. Coming into a nice reclined cobbler. So the soles of the feet come to touch. The knees fall open. You can always bring your hands kind of underneath the thighs, right in close to those glutes or the edge. Adds a little support. You can even make little fists to help prop up the knees. You can even grab a couple of pillows and placing them under the knees. If you don't like that full pull of gravity, pulling the legs open, lots of external rotation. Take a notice, are you really puffing those low ribs out? Can you pretty much stick a hand under the back because you've got so much arch happening? If that's you, maybe even bring the hands right underneath the sits bones and trying to tuck that tailbone under and pressing that low back a little bit more in towards the mat. You might not get full connection, but just see if you can make that little connection. Just kind of not overarching through that low spine. And also keeping that little gentle tuck of the chin so you're not overarching through the neck either. Really all about finding that sweet spot, letting it feel really good. Noticing the breath. Can you breathe into that abdomen? Taking another full breath or two. Feeling that nice big inhale. And take a nice, complete exhale. And starting to wiggle off the hands if you're still on them. And ever so gently, maybe even with helping hands, bring the knees back up towards center, planting the feet down. Really pressing that low back in. Take a moment, feel that nice tuck of the pelvis. If you want, you can even just real quick hug the knees in towards the chest. Take a little roll from side to side, massaging that low back. Planting the feet. Bring that left ankle onto right knee as we get ready to come into our reclined pigeon or our figure four. You can send that left knee, finding some openness first. And then floating right leg up. And grabbing on to wherever. Maybe grab the knee and the ankle. Maybe reach on through, grabbing for the back of the thigh. As long as you can keep your head and the shoulders down and that little tuck of the chin, you found the right spot to hold on to. Maybe really hug the knees in towards the chest, feeling it on that left side through that left hip. I'm going to take just a little bit of movement in this. I don't know if it's because I can't sit still or just because my hips are oh so tight. I just feel like I need to find a little openness here first before I find my stillness. If you want to get into that right hamstring, you can bring that right foot up towards the ceiling, but keep pulling that leg in. That's what will bring the hamstring stretch. The more you bring that right foot in towards the body. Nice little tuck at the chin. Beautiful. And if you're feeling really quite flexible today, maybe you even reach up for the big toe. We've done a decent amount through hamstrings, so that might be accessible to you. Just showing you where stuff goes as well. And I can release my big toe, start to bend through that right knee. Planting a foot down. Let's bring this into a twist because that feels oh so good. Reach the arms out wide like a T and start to drop the legs down towards the right. Really however they land, however feels good. You can roll tons onto that right hip. If you want lots of rotation through the spine, you can bring that right hand on top of the leg. If you want to add a little more depth, maybe through the hip, through that IT band. Gaze can go to the left, including the neck and the twist and that nice rotation. So many options here, so let it feel really good for you, playing around and adjusting. Still trying to find a little bit of that softness in the pose. Beautiful. Holding just for another breath or two, really maybe starting to feel that openness through the hip or that rotation through the spine, or maybe through that, feel that through your internal organs, getting a nice little squeeze. And returning the head back up towards neutral, nose pointing upwards, releasing the hands, and starting to swing those legs back up. And crossing them, if you haven't already. Taking just a little moment here in this nice neutral. You can windshield wiper the knees from side to side, helping to release through the hips. And then find that stillness and bringing your right ankle onto the left knee, sending that right knee back. Feeling that beautiful openness, feeling that little stretch, that pull through the hip. softening, coming back to that nice neutral, then starting to float left leg up, either catching right foot and knee or reaching through for the back of the thigh, top of the knee, top of the shin, really wherever you want to grab onto to pull those legs in towards the body. Just try not to hold too much tension through the arms or through the shoulders, holding on just enough to keep those legs in place. And maybe checking in, can you relax through the jaw? Can you relax the muscles in the face? Letting it feel really good. And take a little movement, feel a little rock from side to side. I know I did that on the other side. It felt really good. And if you want a little more for that left hamstring, you can start to extend those left toes up in the air. Maybe you have the little flex of the foot, really getting into that back line. You really pull the leg in. Oftentimes when I do this, I kind of stop feeling it through the right hip. So totally your choice if you want to add that attention to the left hamstring or not. To really still feel it through the hip, you still got to be pulling that right leg in towards the body, kind of at the same pace as you were before. So maybe you need to add a bend to the knee to do that. Then you're really not feeling it through the hamstring as much. The leg is just hanging out in the air. So your choice. I'm going to kind of play around and reach up for these toes. Oh yeah, this side is a little bit tighter still. And we still manage to catch it. Beautiful. Letting it feel really good. I'm going to start to release, bringing the bend back to that left foot. Letting the foot touch down. Bring the arms out nice and tall and wide. And dropping the legs down towards the left. Rolling onto that left hip. Coming into that nice twist. Right shoulder still pressing down. Gaze can go to the right. Hand can come on top of the leg. You're going to hang out with your knee pointing upwards. That might feel good on that IT band. Side line of the hip, or the knee can start to drop downwards, getting a little rotation through the spine. Really your choice. Lots of people like the IT band stretch, even if you really start to open up through the knee, sending it backwards. I don't know. This is where I feel it most, so I will share it that way. But maybe you hold on to the knee and add that little resistance in to feel it. And just settling in, letting it feel good, just embracing the quietness, the stillness. Even if there's chaos happening around you, you only control so much in your environment. You control how you respond to what's happening around you, what you choose to let annoy you. And taking another breath or two. So if you need to have a little adjustment, maybe go a little deeper, maybe find a little softness, maybe go a little more gentle. And take a nice big inhale, getting nice and tall. And that exhale, finding a bit of softness. Return the head to neutral. And release the hands. Swing the legs up and uncross. Being that nice little windshield wiper from side to side. Beautiful. Finding your stillness, hugging the knees in towards the chest. Maybe you bring your head up, rounding into a tiny little ball. Releasing. If you want, you can reach on through for the feet, the ankles, the back of the knees. Finishing off with that fantastic little happy baby. Feet up in the air, knees drawing in towards the body. Just a great way to reset the spine. Take a little moment, get nice and tall, extend the crown of the head upwards. And then here's the freestyle portion of our class. So if there's another pose or movement, that would feel really good before you settle into your final Shavasana, you're more than welcome to play around, taking a little bit of time to be creative, to embrace some playfulness. If you're just ready for that Shavasana, then by all means, start to extend nice and long and settle in. But if there's a pose or movement that your body's like, oh, this would feel good, I'm going to take a nice little good morning stretch. Just arms up overhead. Little boss arms, 'cause I love that openness through the shoulders, through the collarbone. And whenever you're ready, taking that time to settle in to our little final resting pose, and giving that body some time to reset, to restore, and to seal in that movement. Taking a nice big inhale and exhaling. Another nice breath in. We'll take 3 big breaths all together, breathing into that abdomen, pressing the belly button out, and exhaling, softening. Maybe you let that exhale be audible as you sigh it out. Let's take 1 more big breath in. And let it go. And taking a few moments maybe to remember and reflect on your intention you set at the beginning of class. Just having awareness of it, remembering your practice. And maybe waking up the body, a little wiggle into fingers and toes. Rolling through wrists and ankles. And you're welcome to stay in your Shavasana if you need some more time. We're going to slowly roll up to seated. To say goodbye. Sign off to leave you to finish your practice however you so choose. I hope you have just a beautiful rest of your day. I hope it's filled with moments of joy. And I pray that you are always blessed. So thank you and namaste. Beautiful.